Welcome to the Center of Light.
Access granted.
We all have access. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about trauma. If you are here, this does apply to you. It applies to everyone. Well, Keith, I have never really been traumatized in my life. We all have trauma. Hello, everyone. Let's see who's here. I want to start off with a big note. Brad Duplantis, what's up? B-Rad. Sana, Rhonda Burchard Hickerson. Nori Loves in the house. Angela Carr. Charles. John Talbert. Rena. Hi, Rena. Donnie Kirby. Jenya. Adana. Melissa. Sean. Carolyn Renando. Leslie. Anna. Hi, Anna. You keep up the good work, girl. I'm loving it. Been under the weather, so I'm muting my mic in between coughing and sniffling and whatever else. Please, dear Lord, don't let me go into a coughing spell. Local grown, local honey. Honey. It stops the cough. So tonight we're talking about trauma. We have all been traumatized. Definition of trauma. Definition of trauma. A deeply distressing or disturbing experience. A personal trauma like the death of a child. Wow. Medicine. Physical injury. More on trauma. Similar. Injury, damage, hurt, wound, wounding, sore, bruise, cut, laceration, lesion, abrasion, contusion, and the opposite is healing. Tonight's presentation is Trauma, Center of Light, Healing. We've all had trauma. All of us. Well, I'm over it. Hello, Steve Stone. Well, Keith, I'm over my trauma. Are you sure about that? And if you are, God bless you. I hope you are. Please tell me how you did it. Trauma. It affects the trauma mama, or the trauma llama. It doesn't matter. We're going to go over different aspects of trauma and how it applies to every single person. At least one out of the lot does apply to you. Hi, Carmen DeShasha. Robert Harrison, what's up, my brother? The many different aspects of trauma and how at least however many applies to us. The question I simply pose is, have you healed from your trauma? Hello, Karen. Well, I'm a pretty happy human being. As we remove the unconscious stuff, the greater the balloon gets to stretch, the soul balloon. My son and I were talking tonight about something, we always dialogue and having fun twisting words. And he's in homeschooling, which is a Christian school, and there was a piece of scripture there. And I said, son, this is of an old world language, translated many times, but the essence of the teaching is still there. And I went about this present time way of describing it to him, that the soul is the place we want to get to. The spirit is the ultimate goal. So let's take a step at a time. Let's get to the soul first, right? But there's an aspect of the soul that is truly fresh like a brand new baby from the spirit. The pureness of soul as an individual. Now, as the soul begins to express itself on the lower strata, this plateau, this plane, this earth, this three-dimensional playground, it becomes tainted. Because we knew when we chose to come here that things are going to be rough for a while, so we keep coming back to purify not only ourselves, but in so doing, everyone around us lifts higher. The earth itself begins to vibrate at a different frequency, this frequency of the Holy Spirit, hence heaven on earth, and everything becomes from as above, so below, on forever it will go, into a beautiful song of one harmonious symphony, cosmic consciousness. We all want that. We are all that already. We're just not plugged in consciously to the divine matrix. You are plugged into the matrix because if you wasn't plugged to God, the God grid, you couldn't be alive. You couldn't exist. There's something sustaining you. It's something allowing you to hear my voice. It's something allowing you to breathe the breath of spirit. My son and I were talking about how we have to wipe the soul slate clean. That's what Jesus did on a cosmic level. He wiped the human karmic soul slate clean so we can have another shot of becoming the embodiments of heaven on earth physically. Our Father who art in heaven, as it is in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. It's not rocket science. So we all understand that. But we must remove the trauma on all levels. All levels. So the question is, how bad do you want it? What is the it? The highest idea you have about yourself and God is the God you're going to experience. While the higher God, so to speak, still operates behind the system, keeping you alive for eternity. Sustains you for eternity. So the trauma that applies to all of us, they sound something like this. Hello, Abigail. Hello, Kristen. Everyone has trauma. Everyone has trauma. Unless you have been so reborn into the spirit, everyone has trauma. Everyone has trauma. Maybe unconscious. And until we are fully so united with the spirit to where we lose our identity and become one with our deity itself, or no deity, whatever your decision and path is, until you become one, you will always have a body, you will always have thoughts of a lower nature, so forth and so on. So the idea we all need to get into the program with is to lose the identity, to become one with our Father, to become one with the divine. That's what we all want. Everyone wants to be with God after they die. We can be with it right now. It doesn't require death because you don't die. You never die. You live forever. You are eternal regardless of the fact that you know you're eternal while you're on this earth. Here's the list of trauma that affects everyone. Death of a loved one. That's traumatic. Everyone has experienced trauma. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Mike, Timothy. Everyone has experienced the death of a loved one. Trauma. What about this? Even more so than death, because this applies directly to you and not because of the cause of something and you become the reacting effect, but something about you. More so is your birth on the earth. And in all mirth, God's humor abounds. Being born from the Spirit, a freshly lit, divine carrying torch in your innocence as a newborn child. unbounded. Hello, Tom. You are unbounded. You are limitless. And you get squeezed into a vessel. Can you imagine the squeezing that takes place on the spirit who never knew or forgot what it's like to be embodied in a meat sandwich? So you become confined to a vessel. To a divine child, that has to be traumatic on some level. And once you come onto the plateau of the earth, or at least in the hall in between the spirit and coming out the birth canal, that little hall space, so to speak, in between the full transition into the body, they get you to become aware of your new home, physical earth, by slapping you on your ass. That's traumatic. It begins an imprint into the cellular memory and into the mental construct of the freshly born infant. Because it hurts. Later on, we learn that feeling that I felt when I got slapped on my ass, maybe unconsciously, we call that, now that I'm 5 years old, I hurt my finger. So the imprinting begins to turn within itself like a printing machine. And the ego is born. Your birth is traumatic on many different levels. Then you grow up, you get sick. It's traumatic. Break a bone. Get a divorce. Break up with a loved one. Lose loved ones. Get in a car wreck. It's traumatic. Get in a fist fight. Fighting with people you love. This is all traumatic. Looking at the world. It's traumatic. Hello, Stacy, Tracy, Shannon. Verbal fights, fist fights. It's traumatic. Being lied to or betrayed is traumatic. Being cheated on. You want trauma? This is a dose of collective human trauma. The experience of 9/11. The experience of war as a soldier. Or for people everywhere in the world to know that war is going on. Etc. Being on the planet in and of itself until one awakens to the higher purpose of themselves will always feel this world is traumatic. Trauma is your responsibility. Don't take any of my teachings out of the context and the love nugget gesture it's intended to be. No one said that something didn't transpire in your life. That it has. It is now yours to manipulate, to wield as a Jedi. Padawan. Pull out your God-given abilities and do what you got to do. And it's very smart to deal with your trauma as it is happening versus wait time down the road to deal with it. Abigail, so is being born by cesarean another wound that must be overcome to find what was missed out on in natural birthing? I will be so honest with you, I'm not because I love you. One is because you said so, yes. You asked the question. So that being said, the answer simply becomes revealed immediately. The question is the answer, and the answer is the question. So there's a wholeness that happens in your wanting to seek by asking this profound piece of spiritual, delicious nuggets of yourself. You asked, so is being born by cesarean Another wound that must be overcome to find what was missed out on in natural birthing. I understand that honestly from a mother's point of view, just simply wanting that beautiful experience. I understand that. That's a gorgeous thing to want to have happen. Okay, now let's look at, quote, the reality of it. That will always be there forever because you are truly a mother. So you're not losing anything. That's already there for you. That's part of your power. So you're never going to lose that aspect of your beautiful self. Now let's deal with the reality, the trauma that's at hand. One, you're damn right, a cesarean section would create trauma. I mean, you're ripping the body's abdomen in half or opening it up. The soreness, I read in the definition of trauma, one of the words, the similar list under the definition of trauma was sore. It's trauma. It's shock to the body. It's shock to the system. It's shock to the mind that says, oh, I'm hurting. This is what I'm calling pain. And the feeling you have is painful. It's trauma. Imagine the collective trauma we had when 9/11 took place. On levels to this day, dear Lord, we still deny. Are you completely healed from 9/11? I don't think I am. Taught me something. It's a beautiful piece of wisdom. But trauma in this way becomes a jewel. It becomes something very, very gorgeous. Because if you wait to deal with any trauma that has happened to you or will happen or happening, you're only allowing it to congeal and manifest into a solid ball of mess. And it will anchor itself in your bones. It will anchor itself in your body. And it won't be done with you until you're done with it. That's the law. You're playing with the trauma, so the trauma we play with. So when you begin to address those things, the old things that are rock solid, you got to get them out. You don't have to. You can stay in this conundrum called Earth. Not that Earth is bad. Earth is beautiful. But if you want to stay on the Earth and reach to the divine parent to say, please make me a channel of your divine heaven on earth peace now, beyond my own understanding of what it could possibly be. When you declare such a thing, the vessel opens up, and then the trauma becomes truly a catalyst. But until then, it will be a weight. We carry this shackle ankled around, this weight shackled around our ankles. It slows down our gait. Time is over. There's no more time to wait. The train is leaving Ascensionville. Trauma. We all have trauma. So now what do we do? What do you want to do? Do you want to be done with it? I'm not saying you're not happy as a lark individual dancing around in the shower and, doing your thing while you're getting ready. And well, I'm not saying that at all. If you have a taste of that, honey, get you a big old spoon and get you a gander to soothe your aches, because I've been under the weather. It's traumatic, man. It's very traumatic. Stopped me from coughing. So tonight we're talking about trauma. I am going to play a Sadhguru video, 2 Sadhguru videos here. In fact, I'll play one now. This is not directly on trauma. It's indirectly and it touches it. So it would be a great way to open up the lesson when Sadhguru comes on in the second video a little later, to really bring home how does one begin to move through trauma. Everyone has experienced the death of a loved one. It's traumatic. Your human birth on earth is traumatic. You came out of nothing and squeezed into a meat sandwich. Flesh and bones, a bag of bones. And then they smack you on your ass to get you to cry. You don't think that's traumatic? In fact, it's so traumatic, it's your first thought for being on the earth. For those who get smacked on a hiney, when you come out of the cosmic womb, which looks like your mother, your mama, and they smack you on your hiney side, that is when the drama of trauma comes into your life. And it's the first experience such a person has, is this bang of, oh my God, what is this thing? And I don't like it because it doesn't feel good. And I have a red hiney to prove it. So spiritual awakening, spiritual advancement, spiritual mastery, becoming Jesus, becoming Buddha, becoming Krishna, becoming anything and all things that are the most beautiful to you. The only way you can become a policeman is to do what policemen do. The only way you can become a fireman is to do what firemen do. The only way you can be a musician, the only way you can be a Christian or a true Buddhist or a true this or a true that is to do it. You don't sit and wait. You do it. So why do you do it? That's the question. Why do I do it? It's fun. I love advancing. In the advancement comes a greater effortless ease than I've ever known. The bells and whistles that happen on the inside of the joy. The level of depth. The level of forgiveness of other people. Leaving people alone. Just appreciating their beauty as an individual. And all their folly and all their ugliness. I still have issues surrounding that. But I'm going into the gate. Diving in. Get out of the fight. Politics is driving me insane. So I step back, take a breath, and I watch all the beauty and this unfoldment that is allowing me the opportunity to step back as an excuse to touch something greater than I've ever known. In that regard, I am grateful. Other than that, I am not playful. It's not fun. Watching millions of people bash each other, calling each other horrible, childish names. But what do I know? Democrats, libtards, Republicans. What is all that? Mama, Johnny just took my toy. I don't know. It's not fun. The Super Bowl, it's just more noise. It's part of the trauma. Because one who is not in such a traumatic state of being and living on any level naturally has every God-given faculty in their being open and heightened and ready to take in information and to exist on a plane or level of spirit that only getting beyond trauma could ever have happened. It's traumatic. This life is traumatic. So we have to get out of the dramatic aspect of all the trauma, out of all the drama, and become like the Dalai Lama, your daddy and your mama. That's really the gig. So what I am asking you through this presentation, supporting you in, hello Cheryl, hello John, hello Pam, Waverly, Wendy, Janice, Libby, Ryan, Debbie, is just take a look back at your life. One, if you come from the culture that was smacked on the hiney, simply, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? Truth is crazier than fiction. In a meditation, just go back. Stay there a couple of minutes. Meander through it, wander in it, sit down. Make yourself kind of comfortable in there and say, Spirit, is there anything in this place that I need to erase as I wipe my soul slate clean, that I may glean from you my next opportunity? You look at your first bone break, you broke your arm. Go there, visit it, and call these up. And then you'll get so good at it that it's not about every fractured or fractal of all the traumas you have had, have, or ever will have. Because now you've learned how to dance and manipulate yourself. I know who I am. I know all these wounds I have, trauma. I know all these things. Can't lie to yourself. You know yourself better than anything. So when you look at them, you give them the loving care, the tincture, the band-aid, the kiss on your emotional boo-boo that it needs so it can grow, heal itself, leave no residual scar. You're a happy, whole, healed human being. Look at trauma, loss of loved ones. That includes relationship breakup, death, being sick, being in a car wreck, being in a fist fight, arguing with people you don't want to argue with. This is all traumatic. But there are some other types of trauma. I'm going to let Sadhguru cover that because it is a sensitive area. He'll say it a lot better, trust me. Center of Light, my name is Keith Anthony Blanchard. Yesterday, I declared the official day of changing my energy in a very serious way to begin pushing my new release, global worldwide distribution release, Homecoming: Crossing the Bridge to the Soul. You're welcome to go to Amazon now, I believe. No, let me grab my link. I deserve that link. Amazon.com. There we are. So while I grab this link, you can pre-order the book now. It will be out July 31st, 2020. I will do this for the next 10 weeks, maybe longer. I want to give Kelly, if Kelly is here, Kelly Curtis, I want to give you a copy of Homecoming: Crossing the Bridge to the Soul with the conditions that you give me honest. I want it to be honest. Review about what you have read. But it will not be a physical book because I have not received them yet except this and a couple others. But I will give you the PDF of the book. Kelly, if you are here and interested in that, send me an inbox that confirms you heard me. If not, that confirms you heard me and I'll send it right along. Welcome everyone to Center of Light. Let's see who's here in the watch party. Hello everyone. YouTube is in the house. Cool. Kelly Bauman, what's up, girlfriend? Thomas, what's up, bud? Thomas, bud. Carl Laparo. So tonight we are speaking about trauma and healing. I named a list of different events in life that are traumatic for people. Everyone's included. Now I'm going to let Sadhguru here in just a little bit. I have 2 videos by him. Begin to dabble in the deeper arenas of trauma and what someone can do who feels violated would be a good word in one way. Taken advantage of in another. It does not mean that you are not responsible for your life. Let's let God, Sadhguru, lay it out. Welcome to Center of Light. Keith Anthony Blanchard here with you. I love you.
I had a question. How do we learn to say no when you know that something is like saying yes would affect you in an adverse way, but still
You must send your WhatsApp message, no. I know in what context you're asking. No, no, no. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I meant to say small things in life, this and that. But I've been always encouraging people to say yes and yes for everything. Yes or no, if I ask. People around me always say, Sadhguru, it's always yes, tell us what. So for you to say an absolute yes to everything, one important thing is you must create an atmosphere of integrity and trust. If you create an atmosphere of absolute integrity and trust, all of us can say absolute yes when we know nobody will misuse our yes. We can all say 100% yes for everything, isn't it? That's what we should strive for. If it's not possible in the whole world, at least we must create small circles where we can say yes and there is no problem. Nobody misuses a yes. Very important. Very important for healthy unfolding of every life, that you need at least a small cocoon of life around you where you can be a total yes. Without fear or favor, you can be an absolute yes. This you must create. If you don't create this, you will always live in fear. Being exploited is one thing. Living in a fear of exploitation is actually more damaging than exploitation itself. So today we are creating a world where, well, there is some reason for it also. There is reason for it also. I'm not trying to live in some utopian world, I know how the world is, but I'm saying you must create your own little world where you can say yes without any consequence to the yes. It's important. If we do not do this, then we will always live in walls. No is a wall, isn't it? No is a wall, yes is a doorway, isn't it? If you open your door, a devil could come in or the divine could come in. The fear that devil may come in, if you close the door, you have also closed the door for the divine. What an unfortunate life, yes or no? Once you live here, there are dangers of life, of course. But because there are dangers to life, if you close all possibilities to life, that'll become a very absurd and sad life. The walls that you build for self-preservation are also the walls of self-imprisonment. If you build a wall to protect yourself today, after some time, this is your prison, isn't it? So no, 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 no. You built a wall around yourself. Can I say yes to anybody for anything? No, that's not possible. We've still not created that kind of a world. That's too high up there. That's why you must create at least a little world where you can say yes without consequence. Very important.
He just blows me away. The wall that you build to protect yourself is more damaging to yourself than that which you think you're protecting yourself from. And it creates trauma, self-inflicted trauma. We're scared of the world, scared of ourselves, really. We're scared of our own power because we've allowed nonsense and tomfoolery and his brother into our world, and we say no. But we don't know how to say no. We say no internally, and we keep allowing it. Hello, Robert. Tonight we're speaking about trauma, how it affects everyone on this planet, individually as well as collectively, globally. It runs unconscious in the veins of humanity. Trauma. 9/11. That's worse than some of our own personal traumas because we all felt it. And if you have that kind of collective punch behind it, there's no way even the natives of whatever country that lives in a remote part of the world and never seen a white man, they felt it because they're connected to the heart of the earth. We all felt it. It was a punch in the heart, a chop in the throat, a poke in the eyes, and a kick in the groin. Hi, Dora. Take this time for a second and reflect. Close your eye. Close your eyes. Just go inside. Just close your eyes. Simply close your eyes. I'll keep you inside for 30 seconds. Close your eyes. Do a quick snapshot, a quick reflection, overview of your life and say, do I have past trauma? Simple question. So I gotta ask. Don't judge it. Just ask the question. And when you get your answer, open your eyes. The next question you would ask of yourself, if you want to keep moving in to the traumatic experiences one has accumulated over one's life, to light the torch, is ask, what is my trauma? And then one will show up in your consciousness just like that. And you look at it honestly. And you begin to dismantle it. You dismantle it. How do I dismantle it? It just popped into my consciousness stream just by asking the question. You look at it honestly. How do I dissipate my trauma? You take honesty into the rabbit hole. Deep. And when you get to the end, look a little more. And you look a little more. And you realize that certain things that may have happened to you may not have been your fault. But it is your responsibility. If you want to move out of that what's keeping you from expanding in your full possibility, which is infinite, we call that God. It's not hard, but it requires one's own honesty to look at themselves in the mirror. We call those miracles. The self seeing the self wholly, H-O-L-Y, as well as W-H-O-L-Y, in wholeness, holy. That's called a mirror call. Miracle, a mirror call when we see our reflection. So to dismantle your trauma, you have to become honest with yourself and take your power back by saying, I'm taking responsibility. I'm going to heal this trauma. In fact, I'm going to go so beyond even using that word. There was never a trauma in the first place. All there was this something that needed to get my attention so we can experience God's love, which to say is, this is what you are not. But it took me, quote, to use this thing to get the very thing that you need to shake yourself out of. Spirit always says yes. As Sadhguru was talking about, we have no and yes. No shuts the door. You shut the door to the devil, you shut the door to God as well. It's a metaphor. No is a shut door. Yes is an open door. It's an invitation. Yes. So spirit is in that space of always saying yes. It's called unconditional love. Mom, divine dad. Can I have a little bit more unconscious trauma? Yes. That's the game. Do you want to win the game? Is realize that there's no competition. It's your potato salad. Eat it. It's your bed. Make it. It's your movie. Create it. Finish the game. Have you finished, or are you trying your best? And when I say your best, I mean to the best you know that you have, that you can muster up every day to finish the game that never started, nor will it ever end. Are you finishing it? So how do you finish the game? Is that there is no objective except to objectively see that this is a weaving of a tapestry of your own making. Even if it's of one being violated. It's a very tender subject. No one's trying to pour salt in your wound. The universe wants to empower you. But it doesn't work that way if we see our life as, from this birth, as I said, which in of itself is traumatic. The first thing that you remember on a cellular level coming onto this earth is being slapped on your ass and it hurt. And you went, wah! It's traumatic. From that moment, throughout this life, if you do not complete with said experience, the train goes around again. I am speaking about reincarnation. It's real. It's real. Doesn't matter. It's real. You've been doing this forever. You cannot go back to the pure source consciously with any nonsense. It would be like a cancer, and it would disrupt the universal law and divine order, which holds everything in creation together all at once. It's about taking responsibility. It may appear to you in this way, in this life, in your level of consciousness, that something was done to you. And I understand it. No one is trivializing your trauma. So now what? Now what? Honestly, I'm asking, now what? What do you want to do? I'm here. Many people are here to help. Just a friend. Someone you care about who wants to give you an ear. Do you want to heal it? Do you want to be honest about it? Do you want to move through it? Inward is upward, upward is forward, and forward is toward something beautiful. And that beautiful thing is you. There's nothing more beautiful in this universe than you. Even with your bag of bullshit. There's nothing in this universe more beautiful than you. And right now for me, because I'm getting over my trauma of being sick, this divine nectar we call honey. It stops me from coughing. Your trauma will follow you. Abigail said it correctly. Just because you leave this body, you're not absolved. You will experience lighter natures, lighter levels of spirit. Back on the train you go. But the window is now open for everyone to move through, as well as move through the window of their trauma. Kids, Abigail says, kids don't know what to do when the abuse comes from God. We can't call our parents on their bullshit until we are older. I'm glad you said that. That was one I left off of my list, was religious, dogmatic trauma. Let me say that again because it's very important. Many people have been slapped across the face, emotionally, physically, whipped on the ass because of certain indoctrination. Religious trauma. It's traumatic for a child to hear they're going to burn in hell. Dear Lord, what the fuck are you doing? You tell that to a child in their upbringing as you're trying to raise them up. In the raising of children, doesn't it make sense to raise them up instead of beat them down? Why you trying to raise your child by beating them down will never work. And beating down can come with a slap on the ass, or it can come with a slap of the book. It's trauma. It's traumatic. Dora's laughing. I love when people laugh. Oh my God, I do the same thing. Abigail says, I struggle more with this than any other wound. What is that, dear? If you feel free, if you feel like you want to share, what in particular? Maybe I can provide some ideas for you. what is the wound you're referring to. I'll push you off the cliff if necessary. I'm waiting on Abigail's response. Tonight we're speaking about trauma and healing and dealing with it. But you got to get into a space of feeling with it. See what it feels like. And then when you're in the feeling of it all, you simply have to make another choice. You can't change the color of your room, painting it wise. If you're standing outside the room, you got to go in the room to change the color. If you don't like the color of how you feel, you have to go in it and make a new decision. Well, I'm going to paint this room, this emotional room, blue. The polka dot is starting to wear on me. Trauma. I bet we never saw or really taken the time to look at ourselves as being filled with trauma. Abigail did come through. She says, excuse me, you just read it. Parents committing abuse in God's name. God had no such energy involvement in that nonsense. Of course you know that. And it does not mean you don't love your parents for biology reasons. Even the beautiful qualities that your parents instilled for you. And I'm glad that you're being honest, as I mentioned a bit ago, that it takes to move through trauma is being honest. Congratulations. Is that one who really wants to heal, not that you don't. One who really finds it within them to make the right intentional choice to heal will no longer see that my parents committed abuse in God's name. This can be tough on you, dear. Same with any children that has any experiences brought upon them by adults. Regardless, it's everyone's responsibility. The ability to respond is what you do with it. Is to no longer see the event as someone did a something to me. But Keith, you don't understand. But rather, in this lifetime, did I do something in a past experience that brought this back to say, remember me? And or, in this lifetime, it's that very thing that a person needed to shake them off of their core, because the last 3 eternities for them playing this game we call life, they've been stagnant. So Spirit says, I got something you can work on. Because the lights don't go out forever when your lights go out. Forever you will be illumined as a living, conscious, sentient being. Now the choice simply becomes, how conscious and sentient do you want to become? There is no enlightenment. The word is used in certain contexts. There is no enlightenment greater than the one you have now. There's no being in the universe having a bigger time than you are having now. You're having the same powerful experience that every creature, every being, every consciousness in the universe is having. Yours just looks different than theirs, and we call theirs more joyful, but it's all of the same power. All the same power is involved in the creation of any creation. It's called creator. Just the force, Luke. It's all around you. So we are manipulating with our consciousness or unconsciousness. It's all spinning, churning, yearning, and burning this energy we call God as individuals who have throughout their lives accumulated trauma. Some of it, I'd say, gosh, it's so nuts. It's all necessary until it's not necessary. The events that happen to you in your life are necessary. Until we choose, they are no longer necessary. That's called the cosmic riddle. It's the divine comedy. The very thing that makes us cry in the end will be the one thing, those things that give us the biggest guffaw, the biggest laughing, bust out laughing the biggest bang of light, the biggest bang, big bang, the aha of it all. But that comes in time, quote. That comes when we move further into the space of eternity, when we get a higher level perspective is everything. Awareness is everything. So when we become aware of the trauma in our life and look at it honestly. Well, yeah, but you're not ready to go honest yet. You flexed your muscles a little because you were willing to look. You did some work and you had some success. Fantastic. There's no rat race here. There's no rabbit race here. There's no race car race here either. Take your time. But no, the gate is always open. So the more you get honest with yourself, rather the trauma wants its attention. It's saying you're ignoring me and you're in denial. And because you're doing that, I'm pissed off. And I'm going to show you how mad I am by giving you a whole bunch more. The trauma itself becomes conscious. In an unconscious way, it becomes alive. And it makes choices without your permission. Your unconsciousness always makes choices without your permission. Still in all, a choice has been made. The ground has been laid. Either way, the price will be paid. It's called trauma. If you want to move out of trauma, someone's forced themselves upon you. Someone's abused you with religion. You broke your bones. You're in a car wreck. You had a bad illness. A loved one died. You have to get honest. And there is no other way out. The way in is the way out. And eventually, in the long haul, all the work, all the blood, sweat, and tears, become a beautiful song that you listen to and go, wow. The unfoldment was amazing. Would you change it? The universe asks and you say, infinitely no. Sadhguru is going to tell you a little more about trauma, what to do, how to do it, why to do it. God on earth looks like this man I'm about to show you, Sadhguru. I will get to your question, Abigail, or a comment. I'll read it now. Why not? I was just talking to my spirit guides about this. I see this as a response to my question. Thank you for honoring the question with this response. Yanava. Spread this work. It's my beautiful many years of work of unfolding to something I know without a doubt is part of this mission we call the Return of the Messiah ship. And people are lighting up with the effulgence of 10,000 suns everywhere. Believe it or not, that's another reason you're here. Is so you can clear the trauma and the drama and be part of your divine birthright, heaven and earth. Why else do you think you're here? What do you think this is all about for eons of time? This is all what Scripture's been speaking about for eons of time. And not only that, every being in the cosmos wants a part of your action. We are lucky. We're the pinnacle. It's not a bragging point and that we're better than others. We're the pinnacle of God's creation. This is an experiment to unfold on earth as it is in heaven. It's never been done. Many beings throughout the universe are, quote, intelligent and enlightened, but they cannot become the full capacity of infinite possibility as a living, conscious, walking, talking, sentient being. This is what awaits all of us. Tonight we're talking about Center of Light Healing, trauma, Sadhguru.
has gone before.
So, Abigail, I think the point is responsibility, regardless of what it is. That's what the cosmic lesson would be for such traumatic things to happen to people, is to empower them. It's always to empower you, and it needs said event experience that we bring upon ourselves and to experience so we can understand how to get our power back. So they are necessary until they are no longer necessary. It's kind of like training wheels, giving us a ride down the road until we balance ourselves, right ourselves, and ride our spiritual bikes in balance. Woo. So tonight we've been speaking about trauma and healing it. And you have to, yes, feel it, revisit it, and you have to be with it, and you have to look at it honestly, so honestly that you fall into the void of absolute responsibility, having the ability on all levels, even the level of talking to your divine parent and say, connect with me so I can obliterate this illusion as if I'm a victim of a something. Because with you, there is no victimhood. You're the master. Make me a vessel of your peace. And all the trauma gets blown into pieces. Hello, Christopher Porsche. Lincoln, what's up, bro? Trauma. Your birth was a traumatic experience. They slapped you on your butt. First thing that you know from coming onto the earth is that smack. Because it brought you into the room, brought you into the world. And your cellular memory says, oh my God, what is this place? Kelly says, wow, to empower me. Oh my God, the light went on again in my head. Bang, 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 bang. Fantastic. So it worked. The theory worked. It's designed to illuminate you, not to make you hate yourself. You have no defense against yourself. When you attack yourself, check this out. If you have an autoimmune disease, a dis-ease, autoimmune, we know that science has figured it out that the body is attacking itself. Fibromyalgia, the this, the that, all these autoimmune diseases, I would truly support you to look at yourself, your trauma, honestly. Okay, I don't have this disease. I have a gift in this form trying to tell me something, trying to empower me. What is my involvement in it? So I can learn the lesson and move into the